Representative Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel compelled to at least let the House know that there was some discussion on this bill, quite a bit of discussion. I thank Representative Bergen for facilitating that and helping us talk to the Board of Pharmacy. And some of the questions most of the questions were answered, and some were still not clear. One issue that did arise during the discussion was the use of off-label drugs during the COVID. And it's not directly related to this bill, but it certainly is related to some extent. You know, I have good friends and family members who are doctors and nurses, and, you know, they were intimidated from offering certain drugs that were off-label during the COVID pandemic. And there's a big argument about that. I'm not going to try to make that point today. But it could be that people lost their lives because they were intimidated by federal rules attached, or federal intimidation. In fact, in our discussion, it became obvious that a lot of the intimidation that people were feeling here in the state, for instance, the doctors I referred to were fearful of being investigated, possibly losing their license if they prescribed, say, ivermectin, for instance. And so a lot of these things intimidation came from a federal level. And in the discussion, an email was forwarded to me to show that the Board of Pharmacy had actually sent out an email telling people it was okay. This body to use ivermectin. And this body actually passed a law and said it was okay. But in the body of that email, to go down and actually find where it said that was a huge task. And so I believe the Board of Pharmacy was actually intimidated by federal as well. And so the State Pharmacy Board, I think, needs to be more accountable to the people of Iowa than to the federal government. And in this bill, and I understand that it was actually already in this bill, or already law, that there are federal issues that are tied to the bill. The Federal Pharmacy Board is already under federal law, so there are not a lot of changes there. But I feel like it's something that needs to be said, and it's a good context to say it. I think the Pharmacy Board made a very tepid, at the most, maybe even tacit consent to the intimidation they were feeling from federal voices who were intimidating the medical community. So I feel I'm not suggesting that this bill voting against this bill could fix it, but I just felt compelled to speak on behalf of those who were intimidated, and I would hope that we can do something in the future that will bring the Pharmacy Board and the Board of Medicine in this state to a different way of thinking on these issues. The people I'm talking, there's always been a practice, as I understand it, in medicine, where doctors figure out the best practice, and they learn things out there in practice that can change the way things happen. And that system of best practice was ignored during COVID. So for me, I'm still deciding. I'll find out in just a minute which button I push. But I think there needs to be a message sent to the Pharmacy Board on this issue. Thank you.